Good evening, and welcome to Late Night Review, where we talk about what's happening.
And what's not.
I'm Kaylee Law.
I'm Pranav Jayaraman, and here are tonight's top stories.
Researchers in northeastern Brazil have discovered a 4,000-year-old termite complex spanning the size of Great Britain, with a network of 200 million mounds, some with a height of up to 10 feet. Giant termites? Murder hornets? What's next? Mothra? The dune worm? Trump's tiny centipede hands developing sentience and crawling away?
The Titanic 2 is ready to set sail and follow the same course as its predecessor. I know exactly what you're thinking. What could go wrong? Not a good omen to name a new ship after an old sunken one. No reason to fear, however, as it will only set sail in 2022. By then, we should have melted away all our icebergs.
The CEOs of 9 pharmaceutical companies have signed a safety pledge, vowing to not seek approval for a coronavirus vaccine rollout until it is proven safe and effective. As a result of this news, I've been inspired to make my own pledge of a similar caliber. I, Kaylee Law, pledge to inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, blink when my eyes feel dry, and menstruate for 5 to 7 days every 28 days.
Taco Bell has recently announced it will be removing its fan favorite, the Mexican pizza. They have given a statement saying that they had taken this action to cut down on their carbon footprint, as the Mexican pizza packaging contributes over 7 million pounds of waste per year. I don't anticipate this to cause any losses for Taco Bell on the supply side, because if you take the same Mexican pizza and give it in a paper bag without the packaging, by the time you get home, you will just have their nachos supreme.
The term travel shaming has been the topic of various think pieces making the rounds lately, discussing the issue of large-scale travel during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially from the United States. Victims of travel shaming have balked at the idea that their choice to vacation during a global pandemic is selfish or irresponsible. Now, a lot has changed this year, but tonight we can all go to bed soundly knowing that even in this time of uncertainty, there are some people who will always be jackasses.
The University of Texas announced they'll be proceeding with the football season. For safety measures, they are only allowing 25% capacity in the stadium. Don't worry, there was at least some social distancing at the opening game. It remains to be seen if our roster will be counted toward that 25% capacity at the OU game, since our team never shows up at the Red River rivalry.
Leading activist in the Russian opposition, Alexei Navalny, has awakened from his medically induced coma, having been poisoned with a Soviet-era neurotoxin while on a domestic Russian flight mere weeks before. While the Kremlin continues to deny involvement in the poisoning and the long-term health effects on Navalny are still uncertain, there are whispers of a feature film deal based on the crime. Its title? From Russia, with polonium-210.
Dr. Dre is in the middle of a divorce, and while that process is getting finalized, his wife has requested $2 million a month to cover expenses for the year. Some of the requested amounts did raise some eyebrows. $100,000 per month on mortgage, $135,000 on clothes, $900,000 for entertainment. How boring is Dr. Dre? $125,000 for charity? Girl, you charity. With spending like this, Dr. Dre about to be straight out of cash.
Coronavirus cases have been rising in 22 states, beginning around Labor Day weekend after a steady decline leading into mid-August. The biggest increase in cases is attributed to South Dakota, by 126% since its stagnation in the summer. The solution to dilute this terrifying percentage? Merge the Dakotas! We barely care enough about the Midwest to retain one Dakota, let alone two. We can fit their total populations in Idaho. Let's get it done!
Tennis world number one Novak Djokovic has defaulted from the US Open after accidentally hitting a line judge in the throat. This was not the first lapse in judgment from Djokovic this summer. In June, he ignored health guidelines and organized the Asia Tour, an exhibition tournament with fans present, resulting in other tennis players contracting COVID-19. I guess the only positive thing from Djokovic and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad summer was that COVID test.
After leaked photo evidence of Nancy Pelosi's maskless visit to an allegedly closed salon at the start of September, female protesters have gathered outside of the House Speaker's San Francisco home, adorning her trees with hair dryers, straighteners, and other styling appliances. Though Pelosi claims it was a setup, I'd be careful if I was her. I haven't felt this threatened by a curling iron since sleepaway camp.
The Oscars has recently announced new diversity criteria. Of note are some of the ones for Best Picture. At least one actor from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group must be cast in a significant role, At least 30% of the cast must be actors from 2 of 4 underrepresented categories, and each and every cast and crew member must have watched all of the Tyler Perry movies. Yes, even a Medea family funeral.
South Dakota's Attorney General struck and killed a 55-year-old man while driving on a rural stretch of road at night, a death that was discovered after he initially told police he had hit a deer. When asked for comment, the rest of the world said, "Jesus Christ!"
This week, after much wait, Sony has released the launch price for Vector's Lair. Sorry, I meant for the PS5. This came as a shock to many as they raised the launch price from $100 from last generation, making it $500 total. If I wanted to waste $500 on more of the same, I would have just bought in 3 big tickets.
Gender reveals reached new heights of extravagance earlier this month when the use of pyrotechnics sparked a wildfire in the El Dorado Ranch Park, having now torched over 18,000 acres in San Bernardino County and counting. But I know what everyone's wondering. Was it a boy? Was it a girl? Trick question. It was Tannerite.
And finally, after carefully listening to the concerns of the Democratic base about racial justice, of course the DNC has tactfully picked Kamala Harris, the candidate with the best criminal record on black issues, to reward the loyalty of black women to the party. Trust me, the only black woman happy about this pick was Maya Rudolph. For Late Night Review, I'm Pranav J. Raman.
And I'm Kaylee Law.
Good night.
Good night.
Some of us from Houston, some of us from Dallas, some close to Mexico. Shout out to the Valley. Watch Longhorn late.